So you're a reader.
Yeah.
That's
I
cool.
enjoy visual arts.
That's awesome.
Yes.
As do I. Hence the production company.
Yes.
Boom. Next lesson I'm gonna give you. All right.
Mm.
The circle on the mic. We want that to face you.
Ooh, okay.
Okay. And instead of talking like this, see how I'm talking from the top?
Yeah.
I want you to talk on the long flat part.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And that's how you get the best sound.
Sensational.
Sensational. I think we found our favorite word.
Yes.
The word of the day. The
The
podcast episode is called
Sensational.
What did I do for you? All right. Beautiful. How do you want me to address you? Shy or Jane?
Yeah, shy. Jane. I mean, it's kind of odd, really, going out in public sometimes. And it's not frequent that it happens at all. But, like, within the handful of times that it's happened over the years, people will, like, call me Jane of the Jungle or just straight up Jane in public. And
No shit.
I just don't. The reaction that I give is always like a mixed reaction because sometimes it really does catch me off guard. And sometimes obviously my name really isn't Jane. So, like,
Yeah.
the instinct to go ahead and turn around and address people after they say that is very lackadaisy.
I got to ask a question.
Yes.
Because your name's Shy.
Yes.
And you don't give off like shy energy at all.
I often receive that.
You know, but you also kind of do. Because like
Yeah.
you're like when we're talking, your eyes are like closed.
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
just like, I don't know. Is that like a shyness? Is that like, is that just like
I wonder if it's like maybe a touch of the tism. I've
a touch of the tism?
Yeah, like
Maybe that's today's episode. The podcast title.
the touch, just a little. Oh my gosh, I was on Tinder. I'm
saying.
gonna go on tangents. I should mention I have ADHD. I've diagnosed ADHD.
Okay.
So I will go off on different tangents at a lot of different points.
That's fine.
Please feel free to redirect me if you need to.
All right.
I do talk to my therapist about that very often because I also don't make eye contact with him. Oftentimes we're having conversations in our sessions, despite the fact that I do feel totally comfortable with him. I've had him for years. He's been a very wonderful therapist.
Yeah.
But he will call me out sometimes and he'll just be like, Shy, take a moment and just look at me. And I'm like,
Hey.
yeah. Yeah. I'm like, he's like, do you feel uncomfortable? I'm like, in a way I do.
Is it just specific people that you do that with? Or is it just like normal communication?
For the most part, it's with the majority of people. My closest friends and family will be a little bit different because I'm more inept to being able to make eye contact with them.
Yeah.
But oftentimes I'm looking around the room or I'm closing my eyes to think or I'm like doing something else that's going to be more, it helps me focus more on like the conversation that I'm having with the person.
Right.
But
I get
sometimes
that.
it can be a little bit of like shyness depending on like the setting of like where I'm at.
Yeah. So you like just go in your own little world and protect yourself?
Yeah, Space Cadet at your service.
Space Cadet, you high right now?
No.
Little soft. little.
No, like I'm always my teachers, you know how like like when you graduate high school, because sometimes I get loud also. Please correct me if I do get a little loud because I my auditory perception is not very well.
Okay.
But I know in the past, when I graduated from SciTech, and I got this envelope back of like all your school health records that they kept throughout the years. I've moved around, and I've changed schools and stuff because I was originally from Connecticut and then I came over to Massachusetts when my mom was pregnant with my little sister. And anyway, so when I graduated high school, I ended up getting an envelope filled with like all the stuff back from Connecticut and then when we lived in Massachusetts. And in some of those records, it did state that my pediatrician was concerned about the possibility of ADD, just considering that like I was very much like not disassociating, but in a way just not very present in the classroom. I would very much be distracted or just like stare off into space and just not be like my body's here, but my mind isn't present in like what we're doing. And I don't know if that was a point of contention of maybe them deciding if I was going to be able to progress academically. But I mean, I'm here now, so
Yeah.
I came out better than ever.
Better than ever, baby. Yeah, I hear the way you speak. It sounds like you're a bookworm. Sounds like you like to read a lot. I don't know. Like
I don't
you
mind
seem
reading.
like very Poindextery.
I think that's the first time I've actually heard that before.
Yeah.
I
Like
don't
you seem like you value learning. That's like the type of vibe I get
for
from you.
sure. Yeah,
Right.
I think there's always a value in learning, regardless of whatever your choice of topic or category is.
Right. I feel like you're always learning. You can't switch it off. You're always like,
It's always absorbing like a sponge, but don't ask me about my memory because it's a rock.
oh, that's what we need to work on then.
Mm-hmm.
Retention and then application.
My smooth brain need to get a little more crevices in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I got you. Forgot what I heard. I heard recently that if you're like happy or something, or like you do things, I forgot what it was. But if it's like a song or it's in play, that's what it is. If you learn in play, then it takes like 10 to 20 times to like create a synapse or something, or connection in like a wire.
Mm.
But if you're not playing and you're just like learning, then it takes like 100 or 200 or something like that.
Mm.
So
I might have to look into that one.
yeah, that's an interesting thing that I heard recently, which is I thought was pretty fucking cool.
The brain is a fascinating thing, and the clinic that I work in now works very close with neurology, and just hearing about like some of the what's it called, some of the grand rounds that they do. The grand rounds is basically like they do meetings with like all the staff to go ahead and go over anything new, anything that they want to change around, anything that is pertains to like new technology that pertains to neurology and stuff like that. So, and in being in the program that I am now in college, we also heavily focus on neurology and mental health, and just seeing the perspectives of all these different types of diagnoses, and how much they change the brain formation. They change your neurons. They change your the way that your neurotransmitters like float, and the way that affect you overall, like in your outside world, outside of the body. It's just really, for me, that's like the nerdy part. That's like really interesting.
Yeah, yeah, that is really cool stuff. Just to learn how people work, how people operate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why I love this podcast, because it's such an opportunity to like see so many walks of life, and then see like how people operate, and then how they handle some of their hardest moments, or just like their general outlook. Because like some people come on and they're like really grateful, and it's just like, wow, like
Yeah.
you get to see some evil be done or some crazy stuff happen, and then you just see resilience, you see strength, you just see like everything that's almost counterintuitive, or counter whatever is produced. Like we have a narrative, you know what I mean, that people who go through things, like they're not built for stuff. But I really believe it's
Yeah.
quite the opposite. I believe that if you have hardships, like you're more resilient. I think you have greater learning lessons,
Oh, for sure.
more empathetic, you know what I mean? And if you can learn to be grateful, you're a fucking superhuman. You know what I mean? If you can like find gratitude in terrible stuff, you can go through anything.
Yeah, I think that's a definite superpower. When it comes to empathy, I've noticed that, especially in the times that we're in now, from like even like the early 90s. I mean, granted, I'm a 96 kid, but even from like the early 90s, hearing back to like how everything was, from environment to economy and things like that, even politically. I would say over the years, I've noticed, especially after the pandemic, a lot of empathy has been lost, which is really sad. And a lot of what I focus on for like all of my career paths and like the things that I want to be able to do in my life focuses heavily on empathy and sympathy and understanding diversity and inclusivity for
Yeah.
everybody,
Right.
regardless of their background or whatever they had endured.
Right.
So I would hope that over time, in my lifetime especially, I'll be able to see more empathy like progress within communities.
I absolutely wish for the same thing, and that's exactly why we make this show. You know what I mean? Because again, when people have these ideas of certain things, like you think, okay, these people who go through shit, they're now like tainted, which is a false narrative. Again, you know what I mean? People start to put on potential in people, and they hear, oh, blah blah blah, they've gone through this, they've gone through that, and they think that they can't achieve anything. But when you actually hear stories of people who go through crazy stuff and realize that they're successful, extremely successful, you know what I mean? Then it kind of like allows people to be like, kind of question whether or not what they know is really good. And that's what I'm really hoping for this. You know what I mean? I'm really hoping that like people see that strong people come from some crazy shit.
They do. Resilience really is it's a wonderful thing. Although the world can be so absolutely unforgiving at times.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what I mean? But it can also be so beautiful.
Oh,
You know
for
what I
sure.
mean? Like there's like some people who are just like blessings, you know? And I think that far outweighs, you know what I mean? Because like with all the scarcity of it, you know what I mean? Like there's not really like a lot of people who can really touch your soul. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like you kind of just like, oh, like it kind of, and then when you find it, it's just like, oh my God, it's like a, you know what I mean? Because it's just like, it's so powerful now. Now you really see the value of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It helps you really appreciate everything that like you said earlier, like gratitude and everything that you appreciate in life really comes in as like a whole 360.
Yeah.
And I would hope that, like despite everything despite everything that could go wrong in someone's life,
Yeah.
that they'll always look towards gratitude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
You'll win every fucking time.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
I had recently, now that you say that, I had recently seen something, I think my phone's over there, but it was a post on Instagram of somebody actually discussing that. Like your day perceptually is how you view it. And if
Yeah.
you're going to view it as a good day all the time, then that's what it's going to be.
Yeah. Right. There's power in choice. You can choose to have a good day.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's crazy. But welcome to an episode of the Perspective Podcast. A nice little introductory conversation. For the first time, first of all, thank you, Shy, for coming on the show. This is awesome. I love having you here, being a guest.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I cherish it and I'm grateful. I'm very grateful. So if you're a first time listener, first time watcher, this podcast is about hardships, difficulties our guests have gone through in order to share some insight for you guys who may be navigating and dealing with something similar. Or, you know what I mean? There's always something to learn from others and there's in the way they walk, there's perspective, all that stuff. So natural conversation, nothing planned beforehand, just free flowing. Just diving in. And she said she's an open book. I respect that. I'm not going to push too hard on certain things, you know what I mean? But I really love the fact that you came here willing to share, which is really awesome. You know
And
what I mean?
sharing is caring.
So I really want to like give another just kudos to you. I appreciate you. This is what it's all about. You know what I mean? People who are willing to have these conversations. They're not easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For some people.
I think vulnerability was one of the greatest superpowers that a person could have.
Right. Right. And that being said, let's talk about some situations that has shaped you.
Oh boy. Now I really feel like I'm in my therapy session. Where do you want me to start?
Wherever you feel comfortable starting.
Huh.
You don't have to touch anything you don't want to touch.
I'm dead. That's okay. So I'm a kid from hard-hitting New Britain back in '96. My mom being a single parent, didn't have the best time with relationships. I just recently, like within the last year, have been in contact with my birth father. There's a major backstory behind that. He's alive and well. I recently just got pictures of him too. I was flabbergasted. My flabbers were gasted. I didn't anticipate at all. I say this. I say I'm so surprised just because we look so different. I look like a spitting image of my mother, and absolutely no traits of him. So I think that's really what caught me the most off guard. But yeah, he is. I won't go into too many details about what he did, even though it is public record. So if anybody really wanted to look him up, they totally could. He did some not so very great things. He's in federal jail for the rest of his life. That has been a very interesting thing to navigate. I always knew that I didn't know my actual father. And so having in now my adult life to really look back and be like, all these times where I could have had a father figure in my life and I didn't, up until I was around 8 years old, like 7 or 8. My mom had, and still currently is, dating my stepfather, whom she had grown up with since they were kids. And that in and of itself is, has been in the past a very tumultuous relationship. And in lieu of that tumultuous relationship has caused a very now better, but not so great time for me growing up as a teenager trying to figure out my life without my family being around because we had moved when my mom got pregnant. We had moved from Connecticut to Massachusetts. And we've been here ever since. And the thing with me is that I don't like to say that I regret anything because regrets is, you can't take anything back that's already happened in life. You can only, I have a tattoo that it's every lesson is a blessing. Everything that's happened within my life has always been a lesson for me. Whether or not I consider it a blessing or not, it's something that I take with me and I learn from it. And you roll with whatever you got, whatever cards you got in your hands. But I would say definitely navigating that portion of finally understanding, I say this lightly, the other side of me, the other 50% of my DNA. Like, where did this person come from? What is their background like? I didn't have any information of him growing up. And then the backstory behind how I was actually found by my family members, because he had 5 daughters by 4 or 5 different mothers. And I knew there might have been the possibility of be something out there, but I didn't think that it would come in before I turned 50. I definitely thought that I would find it like maybe in some extensive PI search or something when I got tired of waiting around to find the answer. But no, my family members ended up finding me on social media. It was very emotional at first, but after like talking through everything and getting more background information on like how everything went down, I'm not upset. I am, I think, internally confused, just because, having to essentially try to build a relationship with this stranger that I should be more, I should feel more comfortable with because I share DNA with you and you're technically my blood family. But as we all know, blood isn't always everything. So I think part of that a lot has really been like tricky. And I don't know many people who can relate to that situation. So that's just been an interesting one to navigate for me.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you again for being so open and direct, So let's talk about that a little bit. Right. What was like the tricky part about it?
Oh boy, it was and still is. Do I build a relationship with these people? And it's not to say because they're bad people or, which is all opinionated and subjective. Although the court documents are not necessarily subjective, they're very much objective. But it is and always has been like, do I get close to these people? It's not that I'm scared of like getting my heart broken or anything, but it's just more of like, is this in the best interest and safety of myself? And also in the best interest and safety of them, because what if, and I know my birth father is very much heartstrung on keeping a relationship with me because he's been looking for me for over 20 years, despite him being in federal prison that entire time. He went to federal prison, I think, before I turned 1 year old, and he's been there ever since. So I know for him, because he's explained it plenty of times, it's like, I love you, and even if you don't want to talk to me, I'll always love you for the rest of my life. And I'm just like, that's great, but it's hard for me to like say I love you back and tell you that I feel a connection with you when I've truly never met you in a way. Like you've seen me as a baby, but how can I really count that as a recollection of like the time that I got to spend with you or the time that I actually got to spend quality time with you or even talk to you?
Yeah.
You've been locked up this whole time. So, it's like, that's the majority tricky part of it. And then also trying to build a relationship with the rest of the family members of that side, because they've also been looking for me. I'm not opposed to it. I think I'm still trying to build up to it because it's, it's
They
you're
don't call
meeting.
her shy for nothing.
Yeah, like you're meeting new people. Like it's always going to be a little bit nerve wracking when you meet new people.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Wow. That is a new one. I've never heard that.
Neither have I. I
Yes,
feel
you
like
have. You live it, baby girl.
I
It's your
heard
life. You hear it every day, wherever you go.
the day that I was found. I kid you not. Every single domino piece felt like I should have been on a freaking sitcom or something because it just felt every single inch of information I got just felt so unbelievable.
Yeah, I imagine. I love how you're just so light. You know, you laughing off and stuff like that. But I imagine it is painful.
You know, even the darkest of comedians laugh.
Yeah, exactly. It
Laugh
makes
at
me
their
kind of
own
like.
jokes.
That's why I'm just like, because you're so overly cheerful. Like I know,
Yeah.
like the people who typically like, like can be like the light in the room. Like someone needs to check up on them too. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I'm just like I'm wondering since it's the first time we met. Like, is it like you masking? Like, is it like a like And we don't have to actually like really dive into that, but
No, sometimes. I mean, that's one of the main purposes of why I started going to therapy was because I ended up going, especially around the pandemic, is where it really heightened it. But I ended up going through really severe bouts of major depression disorder, and that's what they inevitably ended up diagnosing me with. And I was very much against, despite being in healthcare, I was very much against having to take any medication just because I want internally, and again, I fight myself a lot about a lot of things. But I wanted to present as a strong enough person to not have to rely on a crutch, despite me being in healthcare and teaching people it's okay to rely on crutches. I oftentimes don't take my own advice when it comes to life things that happen. And definitely being able to get the help I need when I need it is one of those things. So when I did finally start going to therapy after having multiple mental breakdowns and just feeling like I'm crying for, like literally going day by day, just crying for what feels like no reason. And then obviously having like the sequential suicidal thoughts that follow that and stuff. And I was like, I need to get help because I don't like feeling this way. I don't want to be in this mindset, in this bubble that makes me feel like I'm suffocating. And I was very, very, very lucky because I hear some horror stories out there, especially around the pandemic. I was very lucky that my therapist was a one and done. He was perfect for me. He understood me very well, was very sympathetic, very much understood a lot of the situations that I was explaining to him and stuff like that. Over the years, he's been able to help me mend some of the troublesome family relations that I've had in the past. And overall, just trying to teach me how to navigate situations more effectively because I get riled up. And then when I get riled up, I don't think straight. I mean, I'm sure that a lot of people can say that about themselves. But my rile up is like a spiral. It goes from 1 to 10.
what does it look like?
Oh goodness. I think the last spiral I had was like a month ago. And I spiraled over, oh my gosh. It's a very long backstory, but I spiraled over something that was very minimalistic in the apartment that I live with my 2 roommates now. Looking back at it, it sounds really foolish. It's like, why would that even, that's not as significant as you are making it to be. And I know that from a logical standpoint, but from an emotional standpoint, my feelings kind of just go everywhere and I start to like just bawl out crying. I just balls to the wall crying. I'm like one of them snot-nosed kids like, yeah, like I'm just, and I'm like,
Yeah.
like, why am I even crying right now? Like, this is like so insignificant in the grand scheme of things that are, that require much more priority. So.
I get it. Hey, we all have our own coping mechanisms and things that set us off. You don't need to apologize or look down on it. The fact of the matter is that it's something to try to understand. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like it happened, and then, we just learn from what we show ourselves. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So you don't need to like, because then that might not help in like the healing. You know what I mean? If you're already feeling like I shouldn't have done this, I shouldn't have done that. It didn't match the circumstance. Like, I mean, it makes sense to say that. You know what I mean? Like to
Hmm.
understand that, but to feel that is different. You know what I mean? Because if you start to feel down on yourself, you got to give yourself
Mm.
grace. It's good to understand
Yeah.
like the words of what you just said, but
Hmm.
not just to let those words really bear too much weight, because then it might just pile more
Oh,
to
for
then
sure.
eventually same thing happen.
Yeah.
You know
That's
what I
still
mean?
something I'm very much working through. It's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
piling of everything and then not letting it overcome me to where, because I get to a point where I just drop it all. Everything gets dropped.
Why are you piling it?
I
Let it go.
it's a force of habit.
Fuck that. Change how you speak. Don't even say it's a force of habit.
It
You know what I mean?
is,
Because then you're
yeah.
because then you're gonna continue to keep on making. That's how you rationalize it. So that's what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we can learn. We can learn to break some habits.
Hmm.
We can break some habits
We're day by day,
day
day
by
by
day.
day.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Why do you pile things on?
It's kind of what I've always done. When I really look back at it,
Mm.
like I've always just internalized a lot of things and I've always kept a lot of things. It could have been because of home life. I mean, that ultimately, home life ultimately shaped me to who I am, to help shape me to who I am today, along with like school life and stuff like that. But not as a, I wasn't the brightest crayon in the box, but I also wasn't the easiest kid to be around. An adult's perspective, I should say. When my parents got together, they were relatively young. Like my dad probably was in his 20s or like mid 20s, late 20s, early 30s, something like that. My mom's around his age. She's only like a year or two older than him. But my dad didn't have any experience. I call him my dad. He's my stepfather, but I do call him my father. He's the one that took on the responsibility of raising me when nobody else wanted to.
Yeah.
My mom has been through a lot of really shitty relationships and really shitty people. And granted, he wasn't also the best option, I would say, from my perspective as a father figure. He really wasn't the best option either, but he took on a role that nobody else did, and I commend him for that. Especially being a person that hasn't had children before, and now here you are raising a brand new baby out the womb, and then another 8-year-old that's not your child. So I'm not knocking that. We as adults now understand better our faults and what we could have done better, and how much that has shaped us and how much we have learned from it, and we hope to not make those same mistakes again.
Mm-hmm.
My dad growing up was a very short-tempered person. So I oftentimes stood away from the house. I was oftentimes like out with friends. I was sometimes walking the streets late night. Like I remember in middle school, like I was into a whole skateboard phase because I was hanging out with all the skaters, and then I wanted to date a skater, and I was just Avril Lavigne up in there, and I wasn't home often. And I would always use the excuse like, oh, I'm going to go hang out with friends, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that. Sometimes I wouldn't get home till like after midnight. It was a regular occurrence. And at the time, I didn't really compile in my head why I was so avoidant of being home. But now, like looking back at it when I became like 18 and I look back at everything and I'm just like, yeah, this is like, this home like life was a very toxic home life, and I didn't that was me inadvertently running away from it all the time. I think my friends knew it because my friends had grown up in very somewhat volatile situations as well in their childhood, so being able to exist and relate with them was very much more easier for me to get by than being like with my parents. Because when we moved here, we didn't have any family. All my family's back in Connecticut or in Puerto Rico or in New York at that time. We were the only ones that had moved over to Massachusetts except for my dad's dad, but he wasn't really close to his father. Him and his father also had a very volatile relationship, so that was also like up in the air. So when I started attending school over here, I got here I think in 4th or 5th grade, and I didn't really make many friends in elementary school. And then when I got into middle school, I was bullied for like the first 2 years. So much so that like I was getting frequently suspended, and because I was trying to fight back. And then like there were also incidents where I've like gotten sexually harassed and I've like fought back. That was like a whole fucking thing in itself. I ended up hitting a kid with a frying pan in the head because he had sexually harassed me. I forgot if he touched my boobs or my butt, but he touched something. And I was like, don't do that. And he was like, what are you going to do about it? And I was like, oh, I'll show you. We were in home ec class. And I was like, I'll show you.
Sheesh.
I ended up getting suspended for that because it's assault. Don't do that, guys. That's assault.
Wow.
But needless to say, once I found my crew, I clicked with them, and we've stood together ever since. Like the friends that I've made in middle school and in high school, we still actively are friends till this very day. And some of them are actually my roommates.
That's amazing.
So they helped me get through all the tough times.
All the tough times.
Yeah.
Tough times. Good times. Nice. Wow. So that's why you keep things bottled in. You had to walk on eggshells. Any little thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was like
That's a good way to put it, actually.
explosion.
I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I want you to just like think about this real quick. Right?
Yeah.
I was like, I've gone through such a journey of like trying to learn and grow, self-development. I didn't think I had resources. So like my thing was I went on a journey of self-growth for years, and I studied some books. One of the books I came across was What Happened to You. It's like with Oprah and like some other psychologist or something. But basically, I forgot what it was. Maybe it's not even in that book, but point being that as kids, anything that happens to us, right? We take it on and think that like we're the blame, we're the issue. You know what I mean? Like we are causing this, when really it's just things that have just happened to us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's just things that's it. You know what I mean? And we identify with these certain things. You know what I mean? But like it's not really, it's just something that happened to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like that type of thing. So internalizing the separation and not blaming ourselves. You know what I mean? Because we can have a habit of doing that when we like don't have the best home lives. We're like, what the heck? Like, I'm the reason for this, when we're not. You know what I mean? It's just really just things that presented to us. You know what I mean? So I know that's helped me kind of like feel better, because I used to blame myself a lot, and that took the weight off. You know what I mean? Like obviously there's still some residuals that like, you know, will always kind of feel like this little emptiness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Until maybe I build my own family. You know what I mean? Because that's something I want to do it right. You know what I mean? Hopefully I'm blessed enough to know what a good family looks like by making one.
Praying for you.
Me too. You know? So we'll see how that goes in this generation. Crazy. But yeah, you know, so don't blame yourself. I'm sorry that you went through that. You know, I want to see you let things go. I don't want you to just like explode, you know, but it's okay. It's going to be trial and error. It's going to happen a few more times.
Oh,
You know what I mean? We got to learn through the fire, go through it, go through the chaos.
I've been doing calming strategies. Last time I talked to my therapist was like a week or two ago. I have been trying calming strategies. For my heightened emotions.
Yeah.
And B, for like my ADHD, because sometimes I just need to. So I don't always take my Adderall, and then sometimes I really do need to like
Yeah.
just like whoosah for a second and take a pause, because my brain is like constantly like go 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 go. That like actually being able to take a pause, like I physically need to do that.
Right. So my thing is, do you have friends who you can like, you know, release and just talk about all your wacky ideas?
All the time.
And just like, you know, like anything that you feel like is lingering in your heart, you could just dump, you know, just like all that stuff, and then be able to kind of like understand it, get some feedback, and like, do you?
I tell them all the time, I'm like, I am very blessed that y'all tolerate me because I have a lot in this little noggin right here, and it just constantly goes like a waterfall.
Yeah, good. I'm glad. I'm glad. That's very healing to have good people in your life. You know, that could be the answer. That's why I tried therapy for a little while. It just didn't really. It was too
Didn't vibe.
it was too transactional. It wasn't like love. There wasn't any love, and I needed love.
Oh,
You know what I
I see,
mean? Like
I
I
see,
needed
I see.
actual dynamics that like were sincere.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, which I found. Um, yeah. So, hmm, very interesting. So, look, a lot of these things that you're opening up about, like, I don't really have too much experience in them. You know what I mean?
I'm glad that you don't. I would not. I would not hope that you had went through what felt like confusing periods.
No, I've gone through that, like, you know what I mean? Like, as far as like the chaotic home and like constant bickering and yelling, and like I know what it's like to walk on eggshells and also like all this other stuff. But like the implosion or like the piling things, and I always let things go. Like I was the type of kid like I'm talking about it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like I don't really care. You know what I mean? And so I always talked about it, even though I got terrible feedback, and that's what like came in, like more so like I'm pouring my heart in trying to get a little bit of understanding. Like
Mhm.
I know that there's people in here. I can talk to you. Like how do you not understand? I'm trying every fucking way to do it. You know what I mean? And then the thing that weighed in on me was like more so I was just like wow, like I thought I didn't matter. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
that's like the type of shit I started to like not care about myself. I used to really think that like I was worthless. Like
Oh man,
you know what I mean?
that's one of the biggest ones. I think even in my adult life, I'm still trying to navigate that portion. But a lot of that worthlessness feeling did stem from my childhood.
Mm.
So I carried it. I carried it into my adulthood.
You're not worthless.
Yeah,
You know? Like
yeah,
you're out here you're helping kids, right? You're trying to like make a career of helping people,
yeah.
right?
I hope so.
Right? Like it seems like and that's like like some advice that actually helped me. Like my mother said this to me. Like I was hard on myself.
Mhm.
She's like, "Tyler, you're a good person." You know what I mean? Like you don't want to hurt people. You don't want to do this, you want to do that. You know what I mean? Like and that made me kind of look at myself differently cuz like I could say
Yeah.
all this, whatever, but I know that I'm not trying to hurt people.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And I can say that for you. You seem like someone who's not trying to hurt somebody. You know what I
I
mean?
hope
And
I
that makes you
don't.
a good person. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like, and the fact that you want to help people, like that makes you a good person. Like you're a good
yeah,
person. You know?
yeah.
Unless you're
I
not. I don't know
no.
nothing about you. You know what I'm saying?
No, I can see it. That's a lot of an internal struggle, and that's just mostly because like y- failures feel so much more significant than what they actually are. So like anytime that
They
I
shouldn't. They're
they
not. They're
shouldn't,
not you.
for sure. You know, like and it's all about perception, right? Instead of looking at it from the box that you're in of that situation, try to look at it from the outside perspective because that's more clear. But I oftentimes have a hard time distinguishing those two things. And I'll let the negative thoughts of worthlessness sort of amplify, and try to like nitpick at everything that I do and make it feel like I'm not a contributing person to my friends, my family, my career, things like that.
Do you like if you were to like zoom out and like look at like the compilation of your life in totality? You know what I mean? And talk about like what you present to the table. Like, do you feel like if someone came to you and like they needed help, would you help them like in your
Oh, for
circle?
sure.
Okay, so let's tally that up. You know what I mean? Like if we like look at the entirety of the
Yeah.
relationship rather than just like how you're feeling right there and then, you know what I mean? Like I'm sure like they, you know what I mean? And if someone's willing to walk out of your life that easily outside of the totality, it's a addition by subtraction.
That is true.
You know what I'm saying? So I would never get caught up on like people too much. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's cool to be grateful, but I don't know. That's some maybe a trauma response on my end. You know what I mean? I kind of
I'm that.
expect people to like you know what I mean? Like I don't really I know what it's like to be by myself. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And I'm like I almost expect it. I really do. maybe to the point where I actually try to even create it. You know what I mean?
I can see that.
You know, but
Isolation can be a very beneficial but also very damning thing depending on what is the purpose of the isolation.
right. That's interesting. No, 100%. Trying to dissect myself now. You know what I mean? The purpose of my isolation. Comfort.
For sure.
I don't have to.
That's a typical reason.
Yeah. I don't have to do like. I don't have to like entertain. I don't have to like take other people's emotion to account.
Hmm.
I could just relax and not think as much. You know what I mean? Because I feel like I'm always thinking about other people.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So like when I'm
Yeah.
around other people, I'm always thinking about like, I don't know, like being of value. You know what I mean? Or just like providing some sense of value.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't like just like not having like I don't like dicking around. You know what I mean? Like I like to like more so be focused on doing something. You know?
Okay.
But I don't know. I think I overthink a lot. Now I'm just dumping and talking for no reason. I don't even know why.
No, dumping is
You're
good.
like,
Yeah, that's why.
yeah.
No, because
Yeah, that's fine.
I like when people are open and vulnerable about things that they are comfortable with talking about and things that they're uncomfortable with talking about.
Yeah, no, I'm comfortable about talking about absolutely everything. You know what I mean?
Sensational.
Yeah, 100%. The only thing is, I stray away from doing it on the podcast as much these days
Mm-hmm.
because I opened up about family situations,
Mm-hmm.
and then a family member tried to break into the house. So now I'm just like stepping back from talking so openly on the podcast. You feel me? But I'm definitely down to talk outside the podcast about absolutely anything.
Well, first off, I'm praying for you.
Oh no, yeah, thank you. I'm good. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Praying for you.
No, I am good.
I think that's also a big like, bless your heart for wanting to, like be more out there and actually like do a lot of networking and stuff. One of the biggest things that I've always been very hesitant towards, and a little bit afraid of, is being too known and having too many strangers with very volatile emotions into my situations, like how you see with, and this is like very like out the ballpark example, but people now who are entertainers and who are like Twitch streamers and stuff like that, and how people will just go ahead and like dox them and show up to their houses and call SWAT teams on them, and like I don't want to be well known. I want to be known enough where I'm respected in my community, and I'm a very beneficial person towards my community. But I don't want to be so known to where people feel that it's okay or appropriate to stalk me, dox me, anything of that nature. I don't want you showing up to my house. I don't. I know throughout the years, people, especially when like I was on a roll with doing modeling, people have asked me like, do you like, you'll blow up one day, you'll be in a magazine and you'll do this and you'll do that. And I'm just like, I don't want that. I'm the type of person, hot take, I do not want to win the lottery. I don't want people knowing my business. I don't want people showing up at my house. I don't want it. I just don't. I'm too, and maybe that's just my paranoia speaking, my anxiety.
No, you're allowed to think that way.
But I'm happy with a more quiet life.
I feel you. That's it. That's what I want too. I want a nice, relaxing life. I'm a very calm, peaceful type of person.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I also feel like, I feel like I'm supposed to do this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like
It's your calling.
yeah. You know, I have gone through quite a ride. You know what I mean? I've learned so much, and I think I can help people. You know what I mean? I feel like I've been sitting on this information, not just for me. I feel like I've been blessed because it doesn't make sense for me to be out of what you know what I mean? Like I feel gratitude, and it's like miraculous. So like with that blessing, I need to spread that blessing. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't make sense. And I know that like it doesn't make sense. So I have something.
Why do you think it doesn't make sense?
Because it's something we'll talk about later.
It's top secret, guys.
Top secret, son. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's a valid feeling.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Bless the people that want to do it. I mean, I've made friends throughout the years. I've networked enough where I'm just like, you know, some people want to make it big. They want to be known. They want to, you know, be signing autographs on the streets and stuff like that. And I'm like, that sounds, you know, from the outside looking in, that sounds so nice. Living through it sounds like hell.
Wait a minute, I spaced for a second. Repeat that.
I'm dead. So like if you're walking down the street, so like the example I gave you earlier where people like call me Jane at the club and stuff, or like while I'm walking down the street, and I'm like, like it's nice. I'm grateful to be, you know, recognized, but I think from a different perspective, it's also a little bit unnerving because people know me. People know me, and some people, not everybody has good intentions for you. And me being a smaller Hispanic woman, or maybe an average size Hispanic woman, I do worry about that oftentimes. So.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. I think women need to be more reserved, man. You know what I mean? Like, I think in general, like, I don't know, like, I've seen, like, these things on like, Facebook where when, like, a woman comes dressed out like a normal woman in America, you know what I mean? But, like, it's just, like, a little bit tighter on the clothing, she gets catcalled. And it's the same woman, she's, like, dressed, like, with, like, the hijab and, like, all the other good, no one says anything to her. You know what I mean? It's like when you have, like, men just fall so into the temptation. You know what I mean? Like, it's just very easy for men to fall into the temptation. And it sucks. It sucks. And I feel like when women practice modesty, like, they kind of, like, take themselves away from that unwanted attention. You know what I mean? Just
I can see that.
That's just me talking, you know?
Yeah. I've been on the flip side where, you know, like I'll dress in like sweats and a tank or sweats and a sweatshirt, and I'll still get like catcalled from people. I find, and that's very subjective, but I find that kind of odd. Like when people are just out, you know, minding their business, and here goes a random stranger just catcalling on the side of the road at the fucking Walmart or whatever. I'm like, let's all slow it down here. I can see the argument on both sides of, like, I hear a lot of men saying that women are maybe too stuck up or that their standards are too high and things like that. And then on the flip side, I hear women saying that men are just players and they don't ever take anything seriously, and you're constantly having to raise them like you're their mother. And two things can be true, you know, but I think it's a ball game that everybody has to work on. When it comes to like being catcalled and stuff, though, I think that's definitely like, that's like people need to everybody needs to calm down. Everybody, especially men, need to calm down. Stop it with the catcalling. This is not entertaining. It's not entertaining to anybody. Like, despite what you may think, it's just, you know, it's one thing to be expressing what's the word I'm looking for, like excitement or like interest in your outfit, or like how you did your hair or how you did your makeup, and be like, oh my gosh, like you look so good. And it's another thing to be like, hey, I'm trying to fucking take you home tonight, let me buy you a shot. Like, you're not putting the hots on anybody, my friend. So but that's just my 2 cents on it. It's not to say that I'm ungrateful that people find me attractive, but it's all about your approach. Your approach is, first impression is everything. It matters to a T. And if you're giving off the impression that, you know, like you see me as like this sort of object, or you see me as like a one night stand type of thing, then I'm not going to take you seriously. Just leave me alone. Genuinely, just leave me alone.
Right.
But I won't tell. I'm a very non-confrontational person, so I won't tell that to people's faces. But that's what I'm thinking in the back of my head.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a great take. It's wisdom. Wisdom, if you're a cat caller listening right now,
The noggins,
make some
building
adjustments.
crevices.
Yeah. Sheesh. Sheesh. Very interesting. I got wheels turning. But I feel like, I don't know. I feel like this was like, I feel like this might be like an interesting place to like put the, you know what I mean? You know?
Are you talking about putting a pin to play golf? What is
Type shit. Yeah, like a pin in it, a needle in it, a pin in
I'm
it.
dead.
We could like write, because I feel like we got like a nice little like summary essentially of like some of the experience that you've been navigating. You know what I mean? And you've been such an open book. You know, I really greatly appreciate. You know what I mean? But I kind of want to talk outside of the podcast. You know what I mean?
Let's do it.
Let's do it, bro. This. All right, bet. All right, so this was a wonderful episode, Shy. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
This was awesome. You have some wisdom in you. You know what I mean? I like it. I respect
I
it.
hope I got something brewing up in here.
No, you do. You do. You 100%. Which is why I would love for you to come back on the show. You know, and we can dive into some more topics. We can talk about, you know, anything that we stumble across. There's always something to dissect. You know what I mean? And I would love to have your take on some stuff. We can have a little bit of a little banter. You know what I mean?
I always thought I was a good debater. Probably not, but
Well, yeah.
I like to do it anyways.
Yeah, but I'm also at the same time, I'm not just gonna like try to disagree. I don't want to just be like a, you know what I mean? We just talk about stuff from our own sides.
Yeah.
If we disagree, we might disagree. You know what I mean? But
It
if
is
we
what it
don't, then
is.
we don't. You know what I mean? But yeah, this was a good episode, guys. I'm gonna link her stuff down below. Make sure you follow her so she can become famous. I'm just playing.
Maybe not.
And leave a comment down below some of your favorite moments, some things that you guys want to spread love, share your opinions, your thoughts, your ideas. Let's connect, subscribe, like the video, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye-bye.
Bow, bow.